Okay, you got it there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a very big. I want to see all the hand claps in the chat, all the emojis, flower emojis. Let's please give it up for Shannon Chaos Ryan in the building.
Hey guys, you okay?
We're doing very well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna put you on the big screen. Hope you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. All is good.
Cool. All right. So, first things first. How was training?
Training was really good.
Yeah.
We're working on some things, and I can't wait to get back in the ring to put it all into practice.
Love that. Love that.
So can I just quickly jump in here?
Go ahead.
As you can see, Shannon, I'm wearing my my coaching colours at the moment because I, like you, just got out of the gym training the team. Obviously, today is Valentine's Day. It was very quiet in my gym today.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the guys weren't there today. I just had a few guys. What was it like in the gym today? Knowing
to be fair, the gym was actually quite busy, to be fair. The classes, they have MMA classes at the bottom. And that was really busy. And then they've got a gym at the top where everyone was working out. So I think at our gym, everyone's single.
Oh,
I better come over to your gym then.
Okay, so listen, Shannon, I want to just double check something, right? So now I did a Fem Files on you back last year. So I feel like my knowledge should be pretty decent, but just for the people who don't know, so you transitioned from like Taekwondo and kickboxing as an amateur. You was, if I'm correct, you was a world champ in kickboxing. Was that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. And you went to the GB national team with Taekwondo.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I did my research is fine. So here's my question: what made you essentially trade feet for fists?
I love the kickboxing. The style that I done, you couldn't knock them out. It was semi-contact, points fighting, stop-start. But the reason why I transitioned was, one, because the kickboxing is not in the Olympics, so you can't make a career from it. You can't, go to the Olympics. So there was no goals besides becoming a world champion, a European champion, and then you fight the same people over and over again, and it becomes repetitive, and there's no challenges. I then went to the GB Taekwondo for that challenge and to train for the Olympics in Tokyo. I didn't really enjoy it so much. I had a hip injury and I had to come off of the team. Then I thought, what's the next best sport that I can go into that I can, go all the way in? I did one session of MMA and I hated it. And then that's when I fell in love with boxing in 2018, because it's got all the avenues. Boxing's a business, but you can fight, you can do all the business in the ring, and you can do the business outside of the ring. And that allows you to make a career and become a champion.
Brilliant. All right. So another question for you then, with regards to that, because you've been grafting for, like you said, since 2018. So that's almost 5 years coming up pretty much, right? Now, luckily, women's boxing and the female sport as a whole has kind of grown quite exponentially in that time. Do you feel, because you came in also on the back of the 258 management before you even had your pro fight, so that opens up kind of a lot of avenues for you and you get to be seen from an early point, but did you feel any type of pressure from maybe having eyes on you from the start, where some people get to kind of graft in the background? You had a spotlight on you from the very start, being associated with Anthony Joshua's like management team. Did that affect you in any way, or how did you deal with that pressure?
Yeah, no, I did feel pressure, but it was a pressure in terms of no one knew who I was, so I'm coming into this new world, I call it, with only 10 amateur fights. Yes, I have a previous combat background, but the boxers really and truly wouldn't know who I am. So it was a pressure of, I believe in my ability, but it is showing that in my performances for then the boxing world and community to know who Shannon Ryan is. So it was like good pressure to want to do well, so then people know who I am.
Beautiful. Tony, have you got any other questions?
Shannon, it's listed that you're from Watford. Have you lived all your life in Watford?
Yeah, born and bred in Watford, yes.
It's funny because I used to live in Watford myself. Lived on Bushy Mill Lane, number 148 Bushy Mill Lane. And
do you know Do you know
my
the
daughter
Lincoln
went to
Centre?
my daughter went to Queen's School.
Yeah,
Queen's
my
Girls.
sister went there.
Okay.
But do you know Lincolnsfield Centre?
I do, yeah.
That's where my dad's gym is, on that complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the club that I'm at now, because I'm in South London, near Croydon in Wallington, the guy that I work with, we're both from Watford, and we started a club there called Callowland.
Okay, yeah, Callowland, yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny that we're both had some time. I've had some time in Watford. I've got a very close affinity to Watford. It's really funny. I mean, I'll tell you a story. I know this is about you, but I'm going to give you a little bit of me that is relatable, because I used to play in a brass band that used to do the halftime entertainment at Watford Football Club.
Okay.
So I got very close with John Barnes and Luther Blissett, who you probably realise are legends in the football game.
I do
at
now.
Watford. Yeah. And then my wife, who I met in Watford, used to look after John Barnes's kids.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, small
That's
world.
Nice. Small world.
But, you're a Watfordite. And, I mean, what do you think about, obviously, training in Watford compared to, moving around, coming into the big smoke, training here in London? What's your thoughts about where you train?
Yeah, so I train at Camden Boxing Gym and also Charge Up Gym in Barnet. So I switch between both gyms. Not really in Watford too much. Normally in North London a lot of the time.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
So I got another question off the back of sort of the last one with regards to obviously your promotion with 258 and obviously being on the big boxer platform and everything. So we know that there's a lot of people who try and, like they try and make it. They'll go through that whole grassroots and, they're on all the small hall shows. Have you at any point received any backlash or criticism just for having an eye on you, like from the start, ITV publications before your first pro fighter, things like that? Has any of that occurred? And if it has, like, how have you had to sort of deal with it or stay focused on what you're doing?
To be honest, to my face, I've not seen anything. Maybe amongst other people when they talk to themselves, but I've not received any backlash. I think people can see from myself, from my socials, that I put the work in, I work hard, and when a door is there, I knock it down, and I just hustle. I've been hustling since I was 5 years old to get to where I am today. Yeah, it's been a different journey, but I feel like the whole journey I've been on had to happen for me to get to this point. So yeah, I've not personally received anything that I'm aware of.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. We've got a super chat that's come in. Tony, do you want to put that one up? And I guess maybe you can field that question.
Okay, so will Shannon fight a journeywoman in her next fight? Is there anything to do in Montserrat?
Now, I don't know where that comes from, but
I have no idea.
Like,
does any of that mean anything to you?
Yeah, my dad's side is from Montserrat.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's anything to do in Montserrat. I think so. You can get the boat to Antigua and the boat back. But when the volcano erupted, it's not too much to do there now. But I think it's very beautiful. I've seen it online and stuff. In terms of who I will fight next, I'm not 100% sure. That's down to my management and coach. But all I know is every fight that I have moving forward is going to be a step up every time.
So off the back of that, if I may, Base, you set yourself a target of becoming an undisputed world champion within 5 years. I've read.
Mm-hmm.
What's the mindset around that? Tell us a little bit about why 5 years, how you see that playing out, who you think might be the obstacles in the way on that.
I think the obstacles in the way is the business of boxing, how that rolls, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
When I read it back, I was like, 5 years is a long time. In my heart, I believe I can do that quicker. I believe in my ability. I believe in my skill set, and I've got a good team around me to make that happen. But in this sport, we want to enjoy it as well as take it seriously, and I don't want to put no pressure on myself. So given that 5-year goal set, that timeline allows me to enjoy the journey, and if it happens quicker, then I tick it off quicker, and then we move from there.
Now, funny enough, you say that actually. So last year, were you happy with your level of activity? The amount of fights you got out with Boxer, would you have maybe liked more? Do you know kind of what's happening this year? What's your current plan, and are you happy with sort of the way the steps are happening at this time?
Yeah, I think last year was perfect for me. We had 4 fights. We was trying to get the 5th in, but due to the postponement of the all-female card, that then pushed that last one, and we couldn't get that in. I managed to get that last one in November, but anything after that, I just found it was best for me to take that rest and then come back this year. We did want to be out already. We would like another 4 to 5 fights. But again, due to other things going on in the background, I have no fight date at the moment. But yeah, just to get at least minimum another 4 this year, then I'll be happy and satisfied.
Okay, no, because that's something that I was keen to find out, because I know that there's been some other boxers from last year and complained about inactivity and not getting the dates that they want. So just wanted to make sure that you were comfortable with, number one, in your situation at the moment, and you don't know when your first fight of this year will be, but do you have an inkling when it must be by? Like, this is the latest time I have to have my first fight?
April time, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just staying ready now. We've been training since the start of Jan. We're just tapering off right now, still training, but just taking a step back a little bit, and then we'll pick it up and just wait for the news.
Okay. Now you seem to make super flyweight quite comfortably. I was at the weigh-in, the one before last, or the all-female one. You pretty much able to weigh in socks and whatnot, so you have no issue really making the weight. Is there any plans to maybe move down to flyweight at some point, or are you just happy to stay at 115 at the minute?
Yeah, we will definitely move down. I think for now, starting out, there's no need to strain my body and not enjoy it. So with my nutritionist, and the team, super flyweight is perfect to start out at. Then we're fueled the whole way through camp. I'm happy, they're happy, and I'm strong. And then once we do what we need to do at super fly, which is collect all the belts, become undisputed champion of the world, then we will move down. We'll mix between the both, because there's only about 1 kilo, I think, difference between them.
Yeah.
So it's not too much.
Nice. All right. Well, look, we've got some more questions that have come in. So JD, this is Josh, one of our new callers from yesterday. So he's basically just saying, guys, make sure you watch Vidal Riley and Leon Wills' interview with Shannon. I'm clearly her biggest fan. So I told you, the great defeaters, they love you in here.
Yeah, he must be my biggest fan to know for a monster, right?
Right. Well, I did have a question from one of our guys, one of our first members. His name's Mullah, and his question was, if you had to introduce someone to boxing, what's the fight that you'd show them? Mm-hmm. And then secondly, what fight do you feel that boxing needs to happen this year?
Okay, so for the first one, I think the fight that I liked and loved would have been the Floyd and Canelo fight. And that's what I would show people. I think you see Floyd control him, throughout the whole round, and he neutralized him. You see him, capitalize on everything that was happening. And then obviously a fighter goes and watches Canelo now, for example, you can see the vast improvements. You can see that he's gone away and done his studying. So it shows obviously Floyd controlling him and neutralizing him. So you look at that from Floyd's point of view. But then if you take away Canelo's point of view, it's, he lost that fight, but he went away, he studied, and that's what boxers need to do, is study the game.
Lovely. And so secondly, what fight do you feel needs to happen this year?
Well, you probably know I'm a fan of Canelo's, but I would say the Bivol and Canelo fight.
Oh, the rematch, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
168 or 175?
Pardon?
At 168 or 175?
175.
Okay, run it back.
Hey.
Yeah.
like
I think they both have a high level of IQ. So it's when you're watching it, it really is that chess match, you know, going back and forth. And I love fights where you don't know what's going to happen next. So I think that's a fight where, you know, Canelo's coming to win, Bivol's coming to win. And, you know, the high level IQ, the fundamentals that they have, it will be spectacular.
Lovely.
So I'd like to piggyback, if I may, on the back of the answer that you just gave, because you could probably tell by the grey beard that I'm a little bit more senior to yourself, Shannon. So my tutelage of boxing hails back to, you know, the 80s, even some fights from the 70s. I'm you know, proper old school. My favorite boxer is Muhammad Ali. But of course, I grew up with the Fab Four in Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Duran, Marvin Hagler. You know, you've mentioned Canelo and Floyd, who I consider to be, you know, modern day greats. But you know, if you had to look back, I mean, are you a student who looks back at the older generations, and have you got any fighters of that older generation that you think, you know what, if I take what I've learned back to older fighters, is there anyone in the old age that you know, I said the old age, I'm making it sound like the, you know, prehistoric times.
She gets what you mean.
Just go.
Yeah, I do. I think in my defense, where I've always kind of watched boxing, but I don't know the greats like that. Of course, I'm aware of who they are. And that's where my studying of the game is still happening. I'm now going back in time. So I'm not quite there yet with, you know, who should fight from that era.
Okay.
Ask me next time, and I'll have that reeled off for you.
You know what? I'm happy you even said next time. So at least we're doing a decent enough job that you might come back. We appreciate it. There's one last question from the defeaters, and then there's just a clip I want to show you afterwards, if you don't mind. Yeah. So this is from North Bank Brent. He's saying, with a surname like Ryan, does Shannon have any Irish roots?
No, I don't. But my middle name's Michaela, so it's all Irish. But yeah, no Irish roots, none.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, so what I wanted to do, because as I said, I was at your very last fight, the one at the Ali Pali, and funny enough, I was vexed on the whole way going up there because I thought that the traffic was going to make me miss the fight. Luckily, I got there as you was doing your ring walk, so brilliant timing.
But then she took 15 minutes, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But so what I'd done, obviously, I recorded and we basically spoke about your fight in the previous segment, which I did want you to see, just so you can kind of see how we break down fights and what we kind of, you know, look at. And then essentially you can just let us know if you thought what we said was fair, unfair, harsh, nice, whatever. 1 second, I just need to get this file. All right, here we go. Yeah, so let's talk about the Shannon Ryan fight real quick. So I've only got loaded up 1 minute worth of footage here, but it's should be enough for basically everyone to kind of see how she broke it down. So 1 second. Okay, so first things first, this is in the 5th round, and there was basically Shannon at this point just started lighting up Ivanova, like quite. She was probing behind the jab, like rather masterfully for like the first 2 to 3 rounds. As you can see there, she had a very spearing jab. Still probably employs a little bit more movement than what is necessary, and her shell guard is quite good. To be fair, like she can work on it a little bit, but she's got really good head movement. She rides shots really well. Like those old school David Haye comparisons that I used to put out, I feel they're very apt. The only difference is obviously David wasn't a former kickboxer, whereas you know, Shannon is. But I was slightly disappointed the knockout didn't come in this fight, to be totally honest, because the movement was great, sometimes in slightly excessive. As you can see that there's some parts where maybe she didn't need to move as much, but from from halfway through the 4th round, going into the 5th and even the 6th, I actually was speaking with my friend Sasha, who we went to go see it with. She actually said to her, if she literally goes into that high guard right now and walks this girl down, she can get her out of here, because the girl's tired, she's getting pressed, she's not got, the defense is starting to be leaky. You don't even really have to worry about the shots coming back because they're not as hard. Anything, plus you block it all here. Tuck up in that high guard and then dig to the body, because one thing Shannon wasn't doing enough of, I feel, was body work. I feel if she was landing in the body a lot more, the head would have followed and the girl definitely would have dropped. That being said, it was a really, really good performance. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen it, I would implore you to do so. Like, she is definitely going to be a future star in the flyweight and the super flyweight divisions. And she's hella marketable. So that's basically, that's pretty much what I want to say with regards to that. So big up, Shannon. Look forward to having you on the show in the future. And yeah, we can move on, seeing as you didn't see it, but or do you want to assess what you saw in the little footage? I'll put it back up and then you maybe talk over what you see. You're on mute.
Yeah, sure, please do. Because it's only a short bit, but I'm liking. She's got a good sense of distance. The opponent is obviously a willing opponent. She wants to get in. She wants to do work. But Shannon's moving. Look at her managing the distance really well, keeping that jab, keeping the space. Always the sign of a good boxer, someone who controls distance. She can see the shots coming, and then she's able to, slip to the side and then fire and do her work. So very impressive from Shannon. I did have a quick word with her after a previous bout. And I like that she's very receptive to comments, because, after the fight at the O2, when I spoke to her, she was like, yeah, can you tell me what I could do better? And, she's obviously one that's, trying to perfect her craft by using as much feedback as she can. But yeah, great ring generalship. Look how she just read that hook coming in, rolled underneath and found the space and came back with a right. Fantastic. That's exactly what we're looking for. And yeah, long may that continue. Look forward to seeing her again.
Excellent, guys. No, I agree. And the things that you said is what we're working on now. And I think for me, the 2 minutes, like 4, 6s, like I'm still understanding. I'm trying to get a lot done in 2 minutes when it's okay to not get so much done in 2 minutes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I need to, my second fight that I had, my second professional fight, I still think that's my best performance in terms of my relaxedness, the shots, the accuracy, the movement, the excessive movement that you're talking about. Again, I agree. There's spaces where it can be, because I'm so quick, I can move again because of the speed that I have. And I also think I'm too quick. There's times where I can dig, bam, and then roll off, then go again. So yeah, I think I do agree.
All right. We've got 2 last questions. Another super chat's coming, but before we get to that, I do have to be respectful to Maestro, one of our members. He has asked you a question. I think you kind of touched on it a little while ago, but if you could just again for him, he's like, how did you first get into martial arts?
I was 5 years old. My dad started off taekwondo, and then he went on to kickboxing, and he had his own gym. So I was kind of brought up into the sport basically, and didn't have a choice.
All right, and then the final super chat from Josh, your biggest fan again, although he doesn't listen very well because you answered this already, but could you answer it again? How many amateur bouts did you have?
I had 10, won 7, lost 3.
That's a winning record in my book. All good. Listen, Shannon, is there anything you'd like to say before we let you go, because we appreciate it's late?
No, just thanks everyone for the questions and tuning in, and thank you both for having me on. And if you ever want me on again, just send me a message and I'll be back.
No doubt.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. We will be on, and you are a member of the Great Defeaters right now, so you will be embraced as such. I will be at your next fight, so when you do have the information, please let me know. All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Respect.
Take care.
Bye.